Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back for silver, and we are here in Portugal tonight, which is a very nice track indeed. Well, a very undulating track indeed, although some people say that's nice, some people say that's not very nice. I imagine the drivers are going through turmoil as they are racing around this circuit, but there we go. We are ready to get ourselves underway. Bear with me 1 second. Hang on. Where does it move to? I can't get the chat up. No. Oh dear. Oh, there it is. That's alright. I've got it sorted. Don't worry. Good stuff indeed. Right then, we are underway for round 22 here in Silver Season 5. Dylan there setting the precedent and getting himself out on the circuit as quickly as possible on the medium compound tyres, I might say. But we have we'll have an interesting tidbit for you in the stream tonight. The title, the driver's title, can be won tonight by Nigel. He has to beat Equaz by 3 points, or gain 3 points on Equaz in this race. To be mathematically the championship winner, of course, with 2 races remaining there in the season after this one, that is. He is currently 50 points ahead of the Aston Martin driver, as Dan Murphy's been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. Unfortunately, he has not been able to sort himself out there. Yeah, a bit of a shame there for Dan Murphy there, once again, having problems in his car. Howdy, happy birthday, Styles there's from Equaz as well. Equaz there is the challenger we were talking about there in the Aston Martin. 50 points behind currently, but can he bring that gap down and extend the championship fight there for another race at least? We'll have to wait and see. Here comes Dylan now round the penultimate couple of corners, as Reflection is also retired in the pit lane there. He's having a problem there in the pits, so unfortunately Dan Murphy and Reflection there done and dusted in qualifying, and unfortunately the first losers of qualifying in this session, of course. Dylan there round the final corner now, up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a very big steep hill up there. Trying to get up that hill, it must be very tough indeed, but not for these F1 cars, of course. They can breeze through there very easily indeed. 18-4 for Dylan there in the Williams. Good stuff indeed for him. Let's have a look and see who's going to be next across the line. Of course, Albo is in place of Fanjo, who was in the championship hunt for quite a long time this season, but unfortunately has dropped down to P3 and unfortunately not raced in the last couple of races either, which is a big shame indeed. But Fanjo there is being replaced there by Albo there tonight, and Lucifer is in for Dopey Lemons, who unfortunately is not able to race tonight as well. We did have one missing, I think it's Pot Stuff missing unfortunately in the Red Bull, so only one Red Bull racing tonight, which is in the form of Reflection, who, like I said, is having a bit of an issue there getting himself out of the garage. But there we go. Let's have a look and see who's the Ferrari coming around the corner next. It's going to be the Ferrari of Kamara Racer. Let's have a look and see what he can do. Like I was saying, back to the championship fight. 50 points is separating Nigel, as Kamara there goes fastest at the moment. Nigel and Equaz in the standing so far. Like I said, if Nigel can outscore Equaz by 3 points to mathematically extend that gap to 53 points, of course, only 52 points will be on offer after this Grand Prix, with the fastest laps, of course, as well. So if he can extend the gap to 53, then he will be able to be crowned the champion here in Portimao. We'll have to wait and see if that is going to be the case, though. Tonight it's going to unfold in front of our very eyes, and we'll have to wait and see how it's going to all unfold in this one as well. Looking forward to seeing how it's going to do in this race. Equaz on the track as well. He's going to be looking to get himself as high as possible in this qualifying session, of course, to then promote himself up the order, to make sure he can at least take the fight to Nigel in this race, at the beginning of this race that is, to see what he can do later on in the Grand Prix. But Equaz there fighting through the hills here of the Algarve, through that wrestling that Aston Martin there through Sector 2 now, and across the line there to start off Sector 3, purple in Sector 2 as well. That is looking good indeed there for the Aston Martin driver. That's not well, it's not exactly what he wants at the moment. He wants to have a purple all sectors, doesn't he? He wants to go purple, but at the moment he's purple in one. Let's have a look and see if he's going to be purple in at least 2 sectors as well. Now coming around the very banked final corner there, and up the hill again to cross the finish line. What's it going to be from Equaz? It is a 17.8, the first driver tonight into the 17s, and that just shows that Equaz has been prepared for this race. He's got himself ready to go, and he's looking to challenge that title fight until the very end, or he's going to take it as far as he can. We'll put it that way. I'm not quite sure how it's going to play out, how quickly it's going to play out, because of course, if if he does get the result, he's going to have to get a very good result, and unfortunately hope that Nigel has a difficult result in either this race or China next week as well, to carry on into Abu Dhabi there for the finale of the season. Here comes Vitold. Oh, he's got there's an Alfa Romeo there, slightly on in the eye line, I should say there, of the Ferrari. He's crossed the line anyway to go P9, but he might be a bit distracted there by that Alfa Romeo that I think was Welsh Maldonado, who was getting out of the way there. Craig are there starting another lap there in the McLaren. Quarter there, popped himself up into P10 there. Currently in the top 10 is, well, only 10 drivers have set a time, that is. So that's why he's in the top 10. But like I said, 10 drivers, they're setting a time there around the circuit there. Welsh Maldonado in P5, but unfortunately, I think might have got in the way there of the Ferrari of Vitold there on his lap. Equaz there coming round to finish off his in-lap there, but currently on pole position, which is exactly where he wants to be, compared to his championship rival Nigel, who's not set a time just yet. He's down in P13. That is probably not exactly where he wants to be starting this Grand Prix for the AlphaTauri Championship contender, but we'll have to wait and see. Gordo said, I'll let you in on a secret. I'm not sure if I've done a lap here since it came out on this game. Good luck, everyone. Well, it was out on last game as well, Gordo. So hopefully you've done a lap on the last game as well, unless I'm mistaken there. Well, it's been that long of playing F1 games, I'm not quite sure which game's got what. But I'm pretty sure that Portimao was on the last game as well. But there we go. No worries. But hopefully you've done a lap on the last game as well. Albo is in the Haas. I'm incredibly slow, says Gordo. He's currently in. You're currently only 2 tenths off Vitold, so you're not too far off the back of the order. There's Dylan there having a problem there getting himself through the circuit. I think Craig R has just finished off a lap. He's not got much ERS left in that McLaren, has he? So maybe he's just doing some practice runs there in the qualifying session. Evening from Slippery Tuna as well. Tuna says serious mushroom, and all the mushrooms and all of the tuners are having nice time in the chat. Good stuff indeed. Think I done it last game, says Gordo. Yeah, good. I think you might have done last game. Of course, a lot of people prefer the last game to this game. I think just handling wise, and I think based on what we've heard on the F1 23 game, that is the traction and the handling, a lot of people I think might go back to this track because it is going to be in the game as well, in the new 2023 game. A lot of people might go back to this track and actually start to enjoy it, I would say, because like I said, with the new traction and handling model, I think it's going to be absolutely incredible, much easier, let's say, to race around this sort of circuit than it is on the 2022 game. But nonetheless, we've got to deal with what we've got, haven't we? And like I said, only after this race, only 2 races to go here for silver. 2 races left for gold as well after their fantastic display last night as well in Portimao. And of course, like I said, we'll have to wait and see how the rest of the races unfold for bronze. Of course, tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. as well. And then, of course, the 100% League, which is going to be at Imola, because, of course, we're giving you a preview on the Wednesday ahead of the actual Grand Prix on the Sunday night, which, of course, or Sunday afternoon, which, of course, always in the 100% League is much better than the actual race indeed. I have to say that, but it is actually true. Especially, we had a fantastic Australian Grand Prix, which was actually mirrored the actual result in the end. So yeah, it was one hell of a Grand Prix, that one. Just one of the highlights of my season. But of course, speaking of highlights of the season, as Kamara there goes pole position there with a 1:17.806 there. That's almost a tenth faster than Equaz at this point in time, and almost 2 tenths faster, or just over 2 tenths faster than Ultimate Beast in P3. That's fantastic indeed there from the Ferrari driver. He really does like the technical circuits. Here comes Dylan up to the line. What can he do in the Williams? He's gone pole position there with a 17.667. That's great stuff indeed there from Dylan. A tenth and a half faster than Kamara Racer. So displacing the Ferrari driver back down to P2, both on the front row of the grid. But Dylan then takes pole position as it stands at the moment. Great stuff indeed. Equaz will have something to say about that, of course. Same for Nigel and same for the rest of the drivers. Let's have a look and see what Nigel can do as he is on the track now. Whereas Brabbit is a bit further along than Nigel will come back to what I was going to talk about, which, of course, speaking of the highlights of the season, the awards are out in the Discord. So, of course, get your votes in for your division, whether it's gold, silver, bronze, or the 100% league as well. You've got the polls open in the session. All of the voting is available now to all the drivers. Get your votes in there for your driver of the season, your most consistent of the season, your most improved in the season, your best performance, and of course the best overtake nominations. All of the polls, like I said, as Brammett there goes up to P4 and 18-0 there on his first run. That's not too shabby indeed there for the Mercedes driver. Let's have a look and see what Nigel's up to in the Alpha Tauri. So like I said, all the polls are available now in the your division announcements channel, and you'll be able to scroll up and see every single poll. There's only 5 polls, and you can get your vote in. Of course, only 1 vote per category, so choose wisely, as I have to say that. Nigel popped himself up into P2 on his first run as well, 17.747. He's less than 10th behind Dylan there on pole position, so that is looking promising indeed. There, Equaz there is on another run though. Let's have a look and see what Equaz can do. He's just finished another run. I think he might have just finished another run there. So he's just come across the line, I think, and that's on that occasion. Yellow flags in the sector 2. I think that's for it's for an Alpine. I think it's Gordo there. Gordo just getting himself back underway. Unfortunately, had a bit of a problem there at the top of the hill. Like I was saying in the Discord before we started the race, that the traction zones around this circuit is very treacherous indeed. Alba puts himself in between the championship contender and Dylan there in P2. He's displaced the current championship leader Nigel down onto the second row, with Kamara Racer there. Alba up into P2 on his reserve appearance. Cassell's retired. Cassell's off the circuit there. He's had a problem there at the top of the hill, it looks like, as well. We'll have a look on board with Albo and see if we can catch a glimpse of where that Alfa Romeo has gone off. But it looks to be a bit of a smash indeed. It's maybe a bit further past the hill here. No, it's on the left. It's on the right-hand side there. You can see the stricken Alfa Romeo. So he must have gone off with the traction zones, like I was saying, at the top of the hill. Unfortunately, that is Cassell out of the qualifying session. He's going to be no higher than 9th at the start of this Grand Prix. His teammate Welsh Maldonado in P8 for the time being. Gordo goes for another spin there. Unfortunately for Gordo, he's got himself back underway. But again, the top of that hill, again, he's got his that traction zone. He's just putting too much lock on that steering. Unfortunately for Gordo, that's sending the car around in a spin. V Todd is back out on circuit as well, just about to start his next flying lap in anger. Lucifer is on track as well. Now coming up to that treacherous right-hander up the hill as well. The traction zone here is very easy to get wrong, but you just need to make sure you measure it and keep it calm and cool. There we go. Lucifer has been displaced there. Craig Hart jumps up to P8 there in the McLaren, getting himself up to the fourth row now, with his teammate as well. So like I said, the McLaren's locking out the fourth row as it stands at the moment. Lucifer might have something to say about that. Can he get himself? No, I don't think he's on a competitive lap time here, unfortunately, in the Alpine, but he's in P11 for the time being. Gordo is back out, and like I said, Gordo was having the issues, wasn't he? Unfortunately, on his lap, I think Craig Hart just getting himself back to the pit lane as well. V Todd is going right around here. We've got a Kamara Racer though onto the circuit as well for the next. Well, I think this is the final flying laps of the qualifying session. So we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. Who said what in there? Never raced here either, says Serious Passion. Well, you've got a race tomorrow there, Serious Passion. Make sure you got your practice in. Of course, we all know that Serious Passion loves the practice for the wrong track. But Serious Mushroom, I can guarantee that it is definitely Portimao for bronze tomorrow night. So there you go, get some practice in for that one. And we will see you on the top step, of course. How's Colesy? Because there's no N. Yeah, that's what Serious Mushroom said. Yes. Yes, I'm okay. Thanks. And Gordo said, damage the rear wing. Don't know if that does anything pit stop wise. It should repair it when you go back to the pit lane anyway. I think automatically. If it doesn't, unfortunately, I think that's qualifying done and dusted in this event for Gordo, which is a big shame indeed. If that is the case, I don't know if it. I'm pretty sure it does fix it anyway. So you should be okay. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. But there we go. Right then, Kamara Racer is the man on track, or the first man on track. tonight in this final run, and he's gone for a spin at the top of the hill there. He's off the circuit, almost into the Fly Emirates polystyrene barriers there as well. He was going purple in sector 2 there, as it has gone up on the timing boards, but unfortunately, unless I might be able to save, if he can save a bit of fuel and some ERS, he might be able to go again for a second attempt, but unfortunately that is Kamara there out, or not out of qualifying, but of course having his issues in the final run of qualifying. Can he go again? I think he's going to try at least to try and go again and see what he can do. He's not going to have much ERS and fuel left though, unfortunately for the Ferrari. That is going to cost him in this Grand Prix, or not in this Grand Prix, in this qualifying session towards the end of the qualifying session. Here comes Dylan there to start his flying lap as well. Crossing the line there in the Williams. A few more outlaps there, starting their way as Nigel, as Irvine's retired in the pit lane, I think. Yep, that's Alpine going slowly there, but it's not Irvine. Irvine's in the pit lane, I think. So that is that done and dusted. V Todd is out of the session as well. He's had a smash there. No, he hasn't. I think he's retired. No, it's not him. It's Kamara Racer there. So V Todd is retiring in the pit lane as well. So that is him done and dusted in qualifying, down in P13. Kamara there is struggling. I think he's having to abort this qualifying, unfortunately, for the Ferrari driver. That is going to be him no higher than P4 in this Grand Prix, in this qualifying, in this start of this race, I should say. There we go. Finally got there. Ultimate Beast up to the line. What's he going to be? It's pole position there for Beast there. A 17.478. That is a fantastic time indeed. That is almost 2 tenths faster than Dylan there at this stage of the qualifying. Fantastic stuff indeed. What a lap time. That pulled himself out of nowhere as well for the McLaren driver. We've seen some great qualifyings indeed from Beast before, but that lap came from nowhere. I think that was a fantastic lap indeed. What a lap indeed to really just curtail the sort of the norm here in qualifying. We've seen Dylan, Albo, Nigel and Kamara there up the top step, and Equaz there challenging as well, but Ultimate Beast there with a fantastic lap time indeed to take away that pole position for the time being, and looks like he might be able to hold on to it, to be honest. Dylan improves, but he only improves to a 17.5 there. He can't get himself back underway. I don't think he's not got enough ERS there to play with. Albo up to the line. He's just starting a lap, so I should say. Nigel is on a lap as well. Kamara is back in the pit. Let's have a look and see what Equaz can do now. Equaz is qualifying is done and dusted. The timer is finished. So these are the final laps now for the qualifying in Portimao. Here comes Equaz now round the last few corners there, making sure he can get everything nailed on. He's got to try and improve. He needs to find almost 4 tenths to get himself on pole position. Let's have a look and see what can he do here as he comes around the final corner now. And this is again is very easy to get wrong there, but he's got himself nailed on there. As we've got a Welshman Otto, I think, going off the circuit in the background into P5. It's only P5 there for Equaz. He's improved, but he's only improved to a 17.8 there on the dot as well. He takes the place away from Kamara, but Brabbitt has gone faster still. Nigel even faster as well. Pole position there for Nigel there on his championship contending Grand Prix. It looks like, at least, unless Dylan can get himself back round, unless Albo has something to say about that as well. Let's have a look and see what Albo can do as he comes round the last few corners. Of course, Albo is technically in the car for Fanjo. Fanjo, we've seen get some fantastic lap times in qualifying. Let's have a look and see what his reserve appearance of Albo can do as he comes up to the line. Can he beat himself to the pole position? No, he can't. He's in P3. So Nigel is your pole sitter there for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and that is exactly what he needs there for the title tonight. Can he get that? Can he replicate the result there in the race? If he does, at this stage, Equaz there is down in P6, unfortunately. So Equaz there would not be able to take the fight to the next race of China, round 23, the penultimate round of the season. So currently, Nigel there on pole position is looking very good indeed to take the championship tonight. Serious Mushroom there was commenting, I think, on every single driver who crossed the line there to set their pole position. Their laps, they were flying in, weren't they, at the end there? It looked like Ultimate Beast, it looked like Brabbitt, it looked like Nigel, and it is Nigel there on pole position there for the AlphaTauri. The championship leader is looking good indeed in Portimao. Brabbitt there in P2 with a fantastic lap time indeed as well. We saw the lap times tumbling down, didn't we, in that final stage of qualifying. Albo in P3 there, reserving for Fanjo there in the Haas. Ultimate Beast in P4, Dylan in P5. P5, Equaz P6, Camaro P7, Craigar in P8, Welsh Maldonado in P9, and Cassell in P10. Just outside the top 10, we've got Lucifer in P11, Smithy in P12, Gordo P13, and V Todd in P14. Farf, Danny, Reflection, Irvine, and Dan Murphy might as well just not bother turning up to the qualifying. So, well, they didn't. So there we go. But like I said, that is the order there for the Grand Prix, for the Portuguese Grand Prix, coming up in just a moment's time. Serious Mushroom just put in a nice little comment there saying avoid the softs. So I think we should steer clear of the soft compound tyres for sure, as Serious Mushroom usually knows to avoid the softs. I think everyone needs to avoid the softs on this game, to be honest. Unless there's only 2 laps to go, then yeah, pretty much the softs are a no-go. Right then, it looks very sunny here in Portugal, which is promising for the drivers. I'm sure they wanted a dry race compared to a nice wet race, but I think it looks like, holding tight, that we're going to be having a nice dry, at least a dry start to this Grand Prix. Very nice and blue skies here in Portimao, so good stuff indeed. Right, then the drivers now are getting their strategy sorted, getting the tyre compounds ready, getting the fuel loads ready as well, getting all the tyre pressures and everything sorted as well, making sure everything is in tip-top condition there for the start of this Portuguese Grand Prix. It could be the title-defining Grand Prix as well. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be close indeed, I think, but here we go. The formation lap is now going to be underway as we get ourselves started here in Portugal. Right then, 19 drivers on the track. Let's have a look and see what tyre compounds everybody's going to be starting on. Of course, down the back of the order, Dan Murphy and Irvine there, P19 and 18 there on the hard compound tyres. Then we've got Reflection and Danny there in the Red Bull and Mercedes, respectively, on the medium compound tyres. Farf on the hards in P15, in the AlphaTauri. V Todd in P14 as well. I'll have to quickly double check on the standings, what the situation is in the constructors as well. AlphaTauri could win the constructors tonight as well. Mathematically, let me just try and work that out. They've got 88 points. They need to have 88 point or 89 points gap there in the end of this race. They are on 63 to Aston Martin as well. So it depends. If Aston Martin have a difficult race, potentially AlphaTauri could clinch the title as well. They would need to score. Well, need to outscore Aston Martin by what is that? 26 points there. So a fastest lap and a win should that occur. We'll come back to that one because I think doing the maths on that is absolutely horrible for me. But there we go. Right, let's have a look and see where we are at with the rest of this formation lap. Good luck all from Serious Mushroom as well. Vitor in P14, Gordo in P13, Smithy in P12, as is Lucifer in P11, and Cassell in the top 10 there on the medium compound tyres. Welsh Maldonado and Craig are on hards in 9th and 8th. Camaro on mediums in P7. Equaz and Dylan P6 and 5 on the hard compound tyres. Beast on the mediums in P4, and then we've got Albo in P3 on the hard compound tyres. Brabbit on the front row is on the hards, and now Prole Sitter of Nigel there on the hard compound tyres as well. Right then, the drivers are almost ready then for round 22 here in Silver. We're just getting ourselves lined up on the grid there to take to the track there for 33 laps around this circuit. And let's have a look and see how it's going to all unfold as Albo there getting himself lined up a bit wobbly there. You can see that he's looking pretty much towards the pit wall rather than anything else. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Gordo's been disqualified from the formation lap, unfortunately. But hopefully he can take the start of the race, which is coming up very, very soon. I think we just got ourselves loaded in. Yep, there we go then. The 5 red lights are coming on here in Portugal. The 5 red lights are on and the 5 red lights are off as we get ourselves underway in Portimao. And Nigel there gets a good start. I think he's going to try and get himself away from Brabbit up the order. Equaz has got himself past Dylan as well. Here comes Albo into turn 1. He's going to put the pressure on, and Brabbit going down the inside is trying to get him in the move. That Equaz is trying to get himself past Beast as well. Equaz with a fantastic start indeed. He's got himself up to P4. He's really going to challenge here. Smith, he's got a 5-second penalty for his collision. collision with V Todd, and yellow flags in the background. And there's a bit of a difficult start there for some of the drivers. Craig R's down 11 places. I'm not sure what happened to Craig R into turn 1. He's dropped down the back of the order there. Albo is trying to get himself past Brabbit as well. They're just still challenging there for P2, and there is the order there. Brabbit's dropped down to P2, I think, just behind Albo now for the time being. Equaz up 2 places there. Cordo and Welshman Otter switching places as well into sector 2, and Gordon up 4 places with a fantastic start indeed. Danny up 6 places as well. Good stuff indeed in the Mercedes for the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, Cassell Smithy and Craig have had a problem there in turn 1. I'm not sure if it was all together or if it was just individual incidents or not, but we'll have to find out after the Grand Prix. Hopefully they can recover there in this race and get themselves back up the order. Ultimate Beast trying to get himself back up the order there as well, down the inside there of the Aston Martin of Equaz, and trying to hold it round now the outside of the penultimate corner here in Portimao. And it looks like those medium compound tyres, even without Equaz on the hard compound tyres, just didn't get the start, did he, from the McLaren. Kamara Race is getting himself past Dylan as well. Dylan there struggling a bit on the start. I think he's on the hard compound tyres compared to those on the medium compound tyres as well. Albo is putting the pressure on Nigel there in towards turn 1. He's going to go for a late move indeed. He's going for it, but he's had to back out there. Lucifer's got himself past his teammate there of Gordo up into P8 there as well. Some team orders there from the Otmar Safnauer pit wall, of course. Alba there has had to back off there. He did try and get himself a little nose in there at turn 1, but had to just bide his time there at this stage of the race and sit back for the time being. Ultimate Beast is putting the pressure on Equaz once again, but Equaz has stayed ahead for the time being. Yellow flags as we've got somebody spinning off in the back of the order. It's Lucifer. He's had a problem there at the exit of the hairpin. He's put the traction down a bit too much, and then he's dropped himself back down the order. Cassell is just ahead of him now into P15, and trying to get himself back up the way. V Todd is has he made a stop there? I'm not quite sure if he has or not. He has made a pit stop there as V Todd, so unfortunately V Todd had to make a unscheduled stop there, but hopefully he can come back. It can come back to him in this race. Albo, like I was saying, is pushing on very hard indeed at the beginning of this Grand Prix. He's now about 8 tenths behind Nigel, so maybe putting a bit more ERS usage into that Haas than the AlphaTauri of Nigel in this first few laps. But now we cross the line to start lap 3. Of course, DRS is now going to be enabled, not down this main straight just yet, but it will be available down the next straight in Sector 1. And then, of course, they will have it down the main straight at the end of this lap as well. Now, DRS is enabled there, the pop-up. Good stuff indeed. I can hardly see down. Says, I can hardly sit down, says Ginger Rage. Cassell there has got the fastest lap of the race there. He's got himself back underway and is looking good indeed. That's good news for Cassell there. We can see him get back up in this race. Welshman Otters had a spin at the... Where's that? That's the exit of turn... Well, he's completely gone off at turn 1. I'm not quite sure what happened there. She has disappeared off the circuit at turn 2, I should say. And there is right end plate damage there for the Alfa Romeo. Unfortunately, V Todd there is, like I said, right at the back at the moment. He's going to try and get himself back underway. Albo has lost that 1 second gap there to Nigel there. He's used up a lot of ERS there as well, has the Haas driver. He's trying to get himself back within that 1 second window, but Nigel there is controlling the pace of this race as it stands at the moment. And I think at the moment, it is looking good indeed there for the AlphaTauri driver to clinch the championship for the drivers, for sure that is. I'm not quite sure about the constructors. I don't think it can for the constructors just yet. Currently, there's 2 Aston Martins in the points pen positions, and that will stop them from winning the constructors tonight as well. That will go on to China, of course, but looking good indeed for Nigel at the moment. He is 1.2 seconds ahead of the Haas as well. Brabbit there is dropped off the back there, but he's not used as much ERS as the top 2 ahead, so could potentially get himself back within that 1 second window in this race. The devil has spun, says Serious Mushroom. That's not very nice. I think talking about Becca, but Becca has got herself back underway, and I think just needs to get herself back into the pit stops as well to sort out that front wing. Out in front, the gap still over 1 second, but Brabbit now is in within the DRS of the Haas of Albo. Welshman Otter picks up a 3 second penalty. I think that wing damage there costing her through turns 1 and 2 as well. So like I said, just needs to get that fixed. Dan Murphy got himself past Gordo there in the hairpin, in the braking zone there. Going through is the Aston Martin up 10 places now is Dan. Of course, starting from the back of the grid, which is very frowned upon, of course. So he's not going to be my candidate for driver of the day. So there we go. So we'll have to wait and see if Nigel wins the championship. I think we're going to have to give him driver of the day. It looks like he's on for a good performance. Like I said, keeping that 1 second gap. They're just measuring the gap there to the Haas currently, making sure that he doesn't get himself back within that 1 second window, but just keeping him out of arm's reach for the time being in this Grand Prix. The top 4 starting to spread out a bit now. as these drivers there just trying to get themselves underway smoothly. And like I said, the gaps are coming down behind in the order. P4 now is Equaz. He's on the back of Brabbit. Brabbit is trying to keep up with Albo. Albo, like I said, using up all of his ERS there to just try and stay within that window there, but he's losing now time hand over fist to Nigel, who's used up all of his as well. So the top two using up everything they've got at this stage of the race. Brabbit there just needs to try and keep within that 1 second window and use that Haas to pull himself along and keep him out of danger there from Equaz. Of course, Equaz looking to progress through the order to try and keep this championship fight alive as well. But at the moment, it's looking good indeed there for Nigel. Like I was saying, Ultimate Beast there on the medium compound tyres just couldn't get them going at the start of this Grand Prix. He lost out to Equaz there on the start, and like I said, since then he's not been able to get himself back past the hard runners. So he's really struggling indeed on those medium compound tyres. Not quite sure how I would expect the medium compound tyres to be much better, as he's had a bit of a problem there through that uphill right-hander. He's got himself back underway, not lost too much time there, but Dylan now is very interested indeed there on the back of that McLaren as well. And let's have a look and see what Dylan can do in the Williams. Of course, he's dropped down one place off the start, but of course that was just due to the hard compound tyres. I think those mediums, for those on the medium compound tyres, like I was saying, have warmed up a lot quicker in most cases, unfortunately, just not for Beast, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a shame because he was the highest medium runner in P4. Like I said, Kamara Racer has got himself back underway as well on the medium compound tyres. They're in P7. They're trying to chase down Dylan. There's a bit of a gap now forming behind Danny, I should say. Behind Kamara Racer now to Danny. Of course, Danny out of the DRS range. Of course, Dan Murphy. There's too many Dannys. Dan Murphy there in P9 there. Gordo there in P10. He's been overtaken there by Favre. Is he round the outside? Not quite into turn one. That's a difficult place to overtake. And now Favre had to slot himself in behind Reflection. He's going to try and go down the inside. Is he into turn three? Not quite. He's had to bide his time. And Irvine there is waiting in the wings as well. Cassell's caught up to this battle as well. Even with that difficult start, Cassell there has done a great job indeed to recover so far in this Grand Prix. He's done a good job as well. Down the inside goes Irvine into the hairpin. Can he make that move stick? It's going to be close indeed on the traction. On the exit is going to be where it's going to be won, and it looks like Reflection has got the traction. Lucifer and Smithy switching places as well now into sector 2 on the exit, the hairpin, and Lucifer has to back out there behind the Williams there, I think, just because it was very sensible indeed, because I'm trying to go through 2 into 1 through there. Usually ends with the person on the inside spinning, doesn't it, with a bit of a clip of the front wing out in front, like I said, or out in the top 5, I should say, because the out in front, the battle has really calmed down indeed. It's now 2 seconds there between Albo and Nigel, and also 2 seconds between Albo and Brabbit as well. Equaz is on a charge though. Equaz might be looking to get himself onto the podium places there with this down this main straight. Let's have a look and see, can he get himself past the Mercedes. Of course, the ERS and DRS is available there to the Aston Martin, and no DRS of course available for the Mercedes driver now into turn 1. It's too far back there for the Aston Martin driver at this stage of the race. Ultimate Beast is keeping keeping those two honest as well. Gordo has been passed by Farf into turn 1 as well. Favre now up into the points pen position, so now the Aston Martins are on 12 points for Equaz and 2 points there for Dan Murphy. Favre has got himself 1 point, and Nigel currently on 25 points, so that is not enough still for the championship the constructors, I should say, to be won tonight in this event. Now down into the hairpin we go once again. Like I said, the gap extending between Favre and the rest of the top 9 now, I should say. Danny trying to bring that gap down to Kamara Racer as well, so he can get himself within the DRS range there of these drivers who are fighting ahead now. Ultimate Beast is all over the back of Equaz here. Look, as if underneath for 2 tenths there behind that Aston Martin driver, pushing now through sector 2. Can he get himself past there down the next complex of corners there? But he's going to have to probably bide his time there towards turn 1 in the DRS zone. But let's have a look and see who's going to be next to make those overtakes there. Albo there is now 2.6 seconds. He's losing almost 5 to 6 tenths a lap now to Nigel. The same for Brabbit to the top 2 as well, I should say. It was almost 2 seconds there at this stage of the last lap. So Brabbit now losing time. Equaz there coming up the hill there to cross the start the main straight, I should say. Can he get himself past the Mercedes there once again into turn 1? There's just not enough straight there for the Aston Martin. Same for Ultimate Beast. Yellow flags. It's not for Gordo. Gordo's got himself past. No, he hasn't. Reflection's got himself past Gordo. And Irvine, I think that was close indeed between Irvine and Gordo there as well into turn 1, but not no damage done. I think it might have been, was it Welshman Island might have had a problem there. She's got herself back underway, thankfully, after a bit of an issue there through sector 2. But it's all good. good in the hood, as it's not good in the hood there for Craigar. Craigar's off the circuit there, and he's had a problem there at the exit of turn 4, and that is very very bad news indeed there for Craigar. He's not got any damage there, as not visible damage anyways. Beast got himself past Equaz, has he? He has done at the top of the hill. I think Equaz might have had a bit of an issue there on the traction zone, and that has let the McLaren of Ultimate Beast pounce on that opportunity there, get himself back up into P4 where he started the Grand Prix, of course, and now can he get himself a challenge there on the back of the Mercedes of Brabham for that podium place as well. Of course, Brabham there starting in P2 was displaced by Albo, and now Beast there trying to get himself back up the order. Yellow flags in the background. It's for V Todd at the top of turn 4 as well. Unfortunately for V Todd, he's off the circuit. We've seen Welshman Otter have an issue there as well, but he's not got him. He's not got any damage. As again, I don't think it looks like that front wing is front wing is intact there for the Ferrari. Good stuff indeed. Here comes Beast there into turn 1. No moves being made just yet on the DRS, and now the gaps starting to extend out the front there. They can see the drivers of Nigel of Albo and Nigel and Albo, I should say, extending their gaps there to the rest of the pack there. Brabham there being the cork in the bottle at this stage of the Grand Prix. So it's not looking good there for the likes of Equaz, who's trying to keep his championship title fight alive in this Grand Prix as well. He needs to needs to outscore Nigel by quite a few points indeed to keep the fight alive. Dylan there putting the pressure on Equaz as well. Into sector 2 we go. God blimey. Oh, and once again we've got some movements here as Beast there with excellent traction there on the at the top of the hill there. He's got himself past Brabham. I think Brabham again had a similar issue to Equaz on the last lap, and lost out to Beast there. Beast there with a fantastic drive through the order, as Gordo has been passed there by Irvine there. Irvine there just getting himself through past the Alpine there, but out if Gordo can just stick with him for the time being, it's not all doom and gloom there. Still within the train is Gordo as well. Like I was saying, Equaz there with a loss of traction there on the last lap. Brabham on this lap as well, and Ultimate Beast has pounced on both occasions there to get himself back up the order, up into P3 and back onto the podium places. Brabham there was looking to try and chase him back down there. Down the main straight we go. DRS available for these 4 drivers as well, or 5 drivers. Kamara Racer was in the background as well. Has Danny got himself back in the DRS? I think he has done, with a fantastic recovery drive as well. Reflection and Farf battling away. Reflection up into P10, and that is with the AlphaTauri drive down the order. Here comes Cassell there on the inside there of turn 1. Like I was saying, not a very good opportune overtaking move, I should say. A very difficult place to start your overtakes, or try and attempt an overtake, but nonetheless both the drivers have got through unscathed, thankfully. Like I was saying, out in the top of the order there, it's the fight for P3 really at the moment. Unfortunately, that is not what Equaz needs. He needs better than P3 to take the fight there to China in the next Grand Prix. Currently, Nigel there is winning the championship there as we go into the third of the way through this Grand Prix. Almost. We've got another. Another lap to do. One more lap. So there we go. So but ignore my maths and ignore that maths at all, because I know that Nigel can win the championship. That's about as far as my maths has worked out, unfortunately. So yeah, it's not that good indeed. What happened to V Todd, says Serious Mushroom. I think, well, V Todd this season, he said, as I think he's just had a bit of a difficult season trying to get used to the game. Like I was saying, it's not like I said, not everyone's favourite game. We're sure, hopefully, we'll see with V Todd back to his finest. We've seen V Todd with some fantastic form in the previous seasons as well of Silver, and looking forward to seeing hopefully that in the next one as well. After it's into the pit lane, and he's retired in the pits as well, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to Farf there. He's called it a day there in the pit lane there, so unfortunately that's Farf out of the order, and unfortunately he's not been able to help his teammate, I should say, to any points in this constructors fight as well. Gordon there up into P13, trying to get himself through the order as well, trying to cling onto the back there of Cassell, but that is not all done and dusted there. The battles are still going to resume here in Silver in Portimao there as we enter the second third of this Grand Prix. Farf's car is coming out of the pit lane, so hopefully that is hopefully it is cleared up by the marshals before anybody gets to it. But there we go. V Todd and Becker in Welshman Otto is trying to have their own fight at the back of the order. Welshman Otto flying off the circuit there, and I think that's why she's picked up a penalty there as well on her record there for this Grand Prix so far. Nigel now up to 4.6 seconds in the lead of this Grand Prix, ahead of Arbo there. Another 4 seconds almost back to Ultimate Beast at this stage. Of course, the Beast has got past, but he's now not got the ERS, not got the power to get himself after the top two at this stage of the race. So that is the good news about getting past the drivers, of course, that you're battling. But then the bad news then follows after you can't get yourself through the order. Gordo is in the pit lane as well. Let's have a look and see what Gordo's up to. Hopefully he can get himself onto the hard compound tyres, as Irvine's got himself up into the top 10 there, ahead of Reflection for the time being. Gordo there into the pits there, onto the hard compound tyres. So the first of the scheduled stops there for the drivers tonight. Onto the hards he goes, and away he goes as well, out of the pit lane. Otmar was looking very happy from the pit wall, I would imagine, there for that pit stop. Very quick indeed. And away he goes there down the hill towards turn 1 as well. Right then, Brabbit there looking to get himself back up into the podium places there. He's lost 2 places there from the start. We'll go on to the tyre compound to see what everyone's tyre choices are. Of course, like I was saying, the only drivers to make a pit stop so far is Gordo there onto the hards. Of course, Mojman and V Todd there with the unscheduled stop at the beginning of this Grand Prix. Yellow flags there for yellow flags, I think, for V Todd. V Todd's off the circuit. He's been lapped there by Nigel as well. Nigel there finishing off lap 12 to start off lap 13. And unfortunately for V Todd, he's not had a good time there. He's off the circuit completely, off the runoff area there as well. V Todd is into the pit lane, and that is him into the pit. So hopefully he can get someone on the hard compound tyres to the end of the race, like Gordo is onto. And Gordo can get himself back in the train, of course, when the other pit stops do start to materialise. Let's have a look and see what Cassell's going to be up to. Cassell there is still going in this Grand Prix as well, and looking to get himself back up the order, of course, after he had a bit of a spin in the first few laps. He's now got himself up into the fight there, potentially for the fringes of the points as well. Potentially has some more points on offer there for the Alfa Romeo driver, so not all doom and gloom even after a difficult start in this Grand Prix. Good recovery indeed for Cassell. Dan Murphy there all over the back of Danny as well. We're seeing the medium compound tyres potentially start to run out now. We'll have to wait and see if there's going to be some more stops there in the next lap or two. But I expect that the medium compound tyres will start to run out, or start to die out now. The tyre wear is going to be starting to factor in a lot more for the medium runners now compared to those on the hards. I think the hards will just be phasing in to this Grand Prix right now, as we've got yellow flags for Smithy. I think Smithy at the top of the hill is having a problem there. Craigar is going to be able to catch up now with this spin there for Smithy. Unfortunately, he's got himself back, or thankfully he's got himself back underway, but unfortunately he's had that spin as Lucifer picks up a penalty as well in Sector 2 there, into Sector 3 now for the Alpine driver as well. So that is not good news there for Lucifer as well. But there we go. Down the order, further up the order, I should say, Brabbit still trying to get himself past this McLaren here of Ultimate Beast. They've got a train formed, and Danny has got past Dan Murphy. Dan Murphy, sorry, has got past Danny into turn 1. There we go. Very confusing stuff indeed. Trying to get those sentences out. And there we go then, into turn 4 we go. Dan Murphy has got himself up into P8 there and got himself within range of the DRS there of Kamara Racer, who's actually dropped out of that 1 second window there of the drivers ahead. Dylan there is in P6, and he's trying to get that gap as far as he can ahead of the medium runner there of Kamara Racer. I think maybe this is an indicator now that the hard compound tyres are not the tyre to be on, as we've got yellow flags for Welshman Nardo in Sector 2, and she's spun the car again. I don't know what she's trying to do here, because she needs to get herself back underway, and this is yeah, that's unfortunately just a display of how not to restart a Grand Prix or restart your car in a Grand Prix. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately for Welshman, it's just not going her way at this Grand Prix. Hopefully she can get herself back to the pit lane and go back onto the hard compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix as well. We've got yellow flags once again for Welshman, who's off the circuit, but this time just getting out of the way of the drivers coming through. So that is good news indeed. But those tyres, I think, are very much cooked, as Jano would say. Now into the pits goes Ultimate Beast there from P3 on the grid. He's on to the hard compound tyres, I'd imagine, to the end of this Grand Prix. So he's got another 18 laps or so to go on those hard compound tyres. Into the pits goes Kamara Racer as well, onto the hard compound tyres from P7. So now the drivers drivers of Dan Murphy and Danny have been released there to crack on in this Grand Prix. Craig R's got himself past his teammate there. Ultimately, he's out of the pit lane in P13. Kamara in P14. So a bit of a gap there between the two drivers, but a bit of a gap there for both of them in some fresh air now to get those tyres warmed up and get some lap times in to, of course, try and go for an undercut here in this Portuguese Grand Prix. Gordo's got himself back up the order there after Smithy has made his pit stop onto the hard compound tyres. Welshman Otto's onto the medium compound tyres once again, so I'm not quite sure what the strategy is there for the Alfa Romeo driver. But she's at least got herself back on mediums and kept on going, which is good stuff indeed. So that is all good in the hood. VTOD, sorry. Where's VTOD? VTOD's down the order, unfortunately, at the moment. But like I said, Equaz there is now in P4. Nigel sets the fastest lap of the race there. So Nigel there has got some pace in that AlphaTauri still, as he sets the fastest lap there on 15-lap-old hard compound tyres. Albo's used up all of his ERS there. Here comes Brabham now down the main straight, 6 seconds behind now the podiums, as Danny's got a 5-second bit of speeding in the pit lane. That is too fast on the entry there for Danny, and he needs to get himself slowed down a bit quicker there into the pit lane. As onto the hard compound tyres he goes. That 5 seconds there will be added on to his race time then at the end of the Grand Prix. He should be able to go to the end of the Grand Prix on those hard compound tyres, but if he has to make another stop, of course that penalty will be served in the pit lane. So there we go then. Cassell there in the pits as well, same for Reflection and Lucifer. Danny's going to come out in P10, is he? He's going to be ahead of Kamara Racer just about, so he has the overcut has actually worked there for Danny. He's got himself ahead now of the Ferrari, but of course on those colder hard compound tyres, Kamara Racer is going to be all over the back of him now as we go through turns 4 as well, and now the DRS is going to be available to the Ferrari driver down towards the hairpin. Let's have a look and see. He's going to be able to make a move here. Kamara, I think, he needs to try and get a move done before those tyres get warmed up there for Danny, and he has got the move done as well, up into P10 there for Kamara Racer. That good stuff indeed. But that just shows that the overcut actually was the favourable choice there for the Mercedes driver, not the Haas driver, of Danny there. So potentially that might play a factor into some other strategy choices there for the drivers around us as well. Maybe the overcut is the better choice here around Portimao, just because I suppose on those tyres, the tyre warm-up is just quite more difficult, especially on the hard compound tyres, isn't it, compared to the medium runners as well. No more medium runners left, unfortunately, apart from Welshman Nardo down the back of the order at this stage of the Grand Prix. But let's have a look and see. There's going to be some medium runners very soon indeed. The likes of Craig R from P8 all the way up to P1 of course, yet to make a stop. Bernardo picks up a penalty there. Just my commentator's curse there on Paul Becker, who's doing a good job of soldering on there in this Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff indeed from her as well, but at least putting in the effort there to get to the finish line at this stage of the race as well. Good stuff. Now 17 laps have been completed, or we're on to lap 17, so 16 laps have been completed, 16 and a half laps have been completed. We're almost at the halfway point of this Grand Prix, and at the moment Nigel is taking precedent there. He looked like he was under a bit of a threat there from Albo in the first lap or two. Albo, they're using a lot of VRS there to try and keep up with the championship contender, and it looks like Nigel there is comfortable at this stage of the Grand Prix there. He's got a 7.5 second gap there to P2. Albo is 6 seconds back there from Albo. Brabham is 6 seconds back from Albo, and Equaz is now in the fight there for that final podium place. A final podium place, it would not be good enough there for Equaz, unfortunately, as Brabham is into the pit lane. Very swooping right-hander there to try and get himself into the pits as quickly as possible there. And he's called it a day there on the hard compound tyres. He's got to do 15 laps or so there on those medium compound tyres, which is doable. And of course the fuel loads are a lot lighter now at this stage of the Grand Prix, and they will be later on in the Grand Prix as well, compared to how they started the Grand Prix as well. Yellow flags for a Red Bull. It's for Reflection, I think. Reflection's got himself back underway, has he? He seems to be all right now. Brabham coming out of the pit lane there. He's going to be behind the McLarens there of Craig R and Ultimate Beast there. He's got himself out of the pit lane now, but he's going a bit squirrely there on the power as well out of turn 1. That is going to be well, you don't want to do that too often, because of course that wears out your tyres a bit quicker, but he's got himself back underway. Through turn 4 we go. Cassell and Reflection switching places there and down in towards turn 1, so I think it was Reflection there having an issue, and Cassell has capitalised there on the McLaren, on the Red Bull, having an issue, and got himself up into P12. Good stuff indeed. Danny has got himself back underway, got those tyres warmed up now to after 2 laps there on those hard compound tyres. Now going to try and chase down Kamara Racer. Brabham has got himself up in between, he's got himself ahead of Kamara Racer. He was ahead of Kamara Racer anyway, wasn't he? He was P3, so this is going to be interesting indeed, actually, actually, because Kamara was in P7 when he pit. Brabbitt was on P3, so you can see the gap there between the drivers there. It's going to be close indeed. Equaz is going to pit stop as well. So this is going to be interesting to see where he's going to come out. Yellow flags for Williams. I think it's not Dylan. It must be Smithy there. As Equaz is there into the pit lane as well. Smithy's got himself back underway. Onto the medium compound tyres. This is the question though. Where is he going to come out compared to Brabbitt as well? Brabbitt there is going to be under pressure there from Kamara Racer down the main straight. But it's going to be close indeed. I think between the two, between the Ferrari and the Mercedes and the Aston Martin as we cross down, as we go down, it's not going to be close at all actually. What's happened there? I think Brabbitt's had a problem there on his stop then in that case, because he's lost almost 2 seconds there. He was ahead, of course, of Equaz there as they went across as he went into the pit lane. So unfortunately for Brabbitt there, he's lost out to Equaz in that pit stop phase, and that is cost him dearly there at this stage of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately for Equaz there, so I'm not quite sure either. I think the overcut, like I was saying, the overcut is the one that works around here, as we got yellow flags there for an Aston Martin. Is it for an Aston Martin? It's Dan Murphy off the circuit there in sector 2. He's got himself back underway, but unfortunately that has cost him a place there to Irvine. And has it cost him any wing damage? No, there's no problem for the wing. Thankfully, Nigel from the lead of the Grand Prix is in the pit lane. Albo carries on there to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Smithy picks up another penalty there as well. Dylan is in the pit lane. And now onto the medium compound tyres goes the AlphaTauri from the lead of the Grand Prix. Albo, of course, carries on in the lead, but he has yet to pit. So he does not hold on to the lead just yet. Irvine is in the pit lane as well, as is Dan Murphy. Craigar might make his decision to come into the pits as well on this lap. Ultimate Beast could get himself back up the order as well. Nigel takes out to the track there, back on the medium compound tyres now in P2. Dylan there will be ahead, will he, of Ultimate Beast? It's going to be close indeed. Down the hill, Beast is taking P2, or taking a net P2, of course, I should say. Potentially Dylan there into P4. Equaz there in P5. So like I was saying, as Equaz has dived down the inside there of... Oh. Not sure what's happened to Dylan there. He's left the session. That's very odd indeed. I'm not quite sure what happened to Dylan there. I think he's just lagged out of the session there. I thought Equaz has dived down the inside, but I think he wasn't. He probably wasn't even aware of Dylan, as Dylan is back in the pit lane, it says. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to Dylan there. I think he's lost connection there to the session, but for some reason it has not just ghosted his car, which is a big shame indeed for Dylan, because he was doing a good job in this Grand Prix. Albo pits from the lead of the race. He was going to relinquish the lead there to Nigel for sure, and maybe Beast as well. We'll have to wait and see how slow that pit stop is, or how slow the pit stop is going to be. It's not necessarily the pit stop, it's actually the pit lane. It's just quite a long pit lane indeed. Dylan is in the pits, it says on my screen, but I'm not quite sure what is going on here. Yeah, we'll have a bit of a clip of that, because I'm not quite sure what is going on there. Unfortunately for Dylan there, it said he was going through turn 1 and 2, and then he just left the session, and this is the result. Codemaster's finest. He's putting the power down and he's hitting a wall. So there's an invisible wall there for the Williams driver. They're having a bit of an issue. They're trying to get himself back underway. Hopefully he can just get himself back in the session. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what is going on there for Dylan there. That is a bit of a problem there for Williams driver. He's got himself back underway. No, not quite. Bit of a shame there, unfortunately for Dylan. I don't know what's going on there for Dylan. During the Okie Kokie, says Serious Mushroom, is Dylan. Albo's come out in P2. He's now 10 and a half, or almost 11 seconds there behind the race leader of Nigel. Ultimate Beast is 3 seconds behind, but of course on the hard compound tyres. Equaz on the medium compound tyres, and Brabbitt has got himself back up into this fight as well. Unfortunately for Dylan, he's left the session. I thought he already left the session. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I'm not quite sure what's happening there for Dylan there, because I thought it said he left the session already. So I'm not quite sure. Unfortunately for Dylan, he's going to be, well, it seems like he's out of this race as well, which is a really big shame, because he was doing a great job indeed, like I was saying. Yeah, game crash, says Dylan in the comment section as well. I'm not quite sure, because it's a very odd thing. I've never seen that before in any F1 game, to be honest. It kicked Dylan out of the session, I think, at turn 1 as he's joined back. But yeah, he's still stuck on the mini-map at the exit, well, at turn 3, basically. So I'm not quite sure. As Danny picks up a 3-second penalty, unfortunately for Danny, that 5-second penalty and that 3-second penalty now going to be added onto his race time at the end of the Grand Prix. That's 8 seconds there for the Mercedes driver. It's going to demote him down the order there at the end of this Grand Prix. Cassell's got himself back in the points-paying positions. That is good news indeed for Cassell after that difficult start to the Grand Prix. Like I was saying, Dylan, as well, I'm not sure if you can see on the stream, but it basically says that your Williams is at turn 3 and it's just not moving. moving there, but it's in the pit lane as well on the left classification. So I'm not quite sure what is going on, to be honest. But yeah, it just seemed like It seemed like you were going fine indeed. You come out of the pit lane, and then for some reason Equaz went round the Equaz just sort of went down the inside of you into turn 3, I should say, and then it just sort of kicked you out. And then maybe Equaz has got some sort of voodoo going on, trying to get himself a good result in this Grand Prix. Of course, he needs a result in this one to try and keep the championship fight alive. But yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly what happened to Dylan there. It seemed like the car froze in place, and I think that is Dylan there out of the session. He's left the session again, and I don't think he's been able to take control or take back control of his car in this Grand Prix, which is a big shame indeed. Like I was saying, Dylan was on for a fight, potentially for a podium place as well. He was up in the order there, P4, P5, around about there as well, and the Ultimate Beast there now in P3 on the hard compound tyres. I think Dylan there would have been in with a shout there potentially of a podium as well, which is a big shame indeed. Like I said, Dylan was doing a good job there in this Grand Prix, so hopefully we can hopefully that was resolved, whatever the issue is resolved for the next Grand Prix, and we can see Dylan back up the order. We still have the Williams stricken at the entry to turn 3. I'm not sure if the other drivers can see that or not. Hopefully it's not getting in the way too much of the other drivers as well. Oh, sorry. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame there for Dylan. Of course, like I said, having a great Grand Prix, and it's been ruined by nothing. It's definitely not in his control there, for sure. Yeah, hopefully, like I said, those sort of issues can be resolved, and the new game will be absolutely fantastic. And not have any glitches at all. Fingers crossed that is. You never know. I can only dream at this stage, compared after sitting through some of 2022's interesting features. Let's put it that way. But there we go. Yeah, so unfortunately for Dylan, like I was saying, that car is still stranded there for me anyway on the circuit. It doesn't look like the drivers there are having too much trouble getting through the Williams driver that's just stranded there on the circuit as well. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just ruined one of the Williams drivers' races, and he was, like I said, on for a good result as well. So it's a bit of a shame that. He's off now. Says, as Gordo is off. As Gordo's off there at the penultimate corner there, he's got himself back underway. Has he? I think he has. He's behind now the I think it's a Ferrari there of Vitor just getting himself unlapped. So yeah, unfortunately for Gordo, he's gone again there. Has Gordo, like I was saying, those like I said, once you've got those tyres overheated, you're pushing too hard straight away there to try and get yourself back underway, and that is costing you time once again for another spin. You just need to make sure those tyres are nice and cool. Potentially go into the pit lane as well for a new set of boots as well. Like I said, Dylan's still in the pit lane for me. Out in front, the gap is 11.7 seconds. It's staying steady indeed for Nigel at this stage of the Grand Prix. Ultimate Beast there in P5 as well. So all looking good indeed at the moment for the podium runners. Although Equaz there will be having to have something to say, I should say, about that. He will be looking to get himself onto the podium for the 22nd Grand Prix of Silver Season 5 tonight here in Portugal. Of course, he's had a consistent run here as Equaz throughout the season of podium runs, and that is why he's got within the championship contention in this season as well. He's been a fantastic driver there for consistency throughout the season as well. I believe he's one of the candidates there, one of the nominees there for the most consistent of the season as well. Into the pits comes Danny there. He's going to have to serve that 5-second penalty there. So this is a bit of an odd call there for the Mercedes driver. He's going to lose out a lot of places as well. And as well has that 3-second penalty. I would have just carried on, I think, if I was Danny, unless he had some sort of issue there with the tyres. But he's going to come out of the pit lane. He's going to be behind, or he's going to be ahead, of Smithy. Still is Smithy coming around the final corner now. Yeah, he's going to be ahead of Smithy, but he's going to be miles behind now the rest of the order there. He's going to have to set some amazing qualifying laps there to try and get himself back up in the points pair positions as well. So I'm not quite sure what strategy call there was from Danny. Unfortunately, that is, I think that's just played foul to costing him the potential points in this Grand Prix. He was, I think, just ahead of Dan Murphy, wasn't it? And Irvine, I think, at one point. So I'm not quite sure if that is if that was the right call there for the Mercedes driver. We'll have to wait and see at the end of the Grand Prix what he can do. We'll have to bide our time now and wait to see how it's going to unfold. Brabant there Had a bit of a difficult start to this Grand Prix. Like I said, he dropped back there on the hard compound tyres from the get-go and has been struggling to try and get himself back up into the order as well. But now we're on to lap 26 of 33, I should say, not of 23. But now down the main straight we go. ERS is going to be running out very quickly indeed there for the Mercedes and for the Aston Martin and for the McLaren as well. But they're all going to be staying within their train at this stage of the Grand Prix, as they go past the Williams car as well that's still stuck there. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see who's going to be next to cross the line really in terms of the anger as well. Let's have a look and see what on board from Cassell, what the point of view is. There's a Williams there still from on my screen that is just stranded there trying to get himself round turn 3. And that is the issue that we're facing for Dylan as well. Unfortunately, it's just the game has ruined his Grand Prix completely after running very nicely indeed in the podium places. Yellow flags there for Lucifer. He's off the circuit. He's trying to get himself back underway. Looks like he's having trouble. They're trying to get the power down as well as he's spun the car once again there for the in the Alpine and trying to get himself back onto the track as well. Lucifer's been passed now by Danny and trying to get himself back underway there is Lucifer as he's into the wall. And yeah, he better not cause a safety car here because that is going to be a big problem indeed. He has caused a safety car as well, and I don't know what he's trying to do here as well because I think that is going to be him removed from, well, not removed, but definitely receiving some sort of penalty there for causing a needless safety car in this race. As Gordo has said, oh my god, yes. So that is good news for Gordo. Into the pits goes Equaz and Brabbit as well. So this is not exactly what we wanted indeed for Nigel anyway. Irvine's carried on there, 7 laps there on the medium compound tyres. I reckon he's going to try and stick it out there to the end of the Grand Prix. Some drivers might pit, some might not as well. But there we go. I'll pay you later, says Gordo in the chat as well. Yep, of course, Gordo there probably needs to get himself some payment sorted. On to the medium compound tyres goes Equaz, Brabbit as well. Kamara's on the soft compound tyres. Craigar carries on though. He's going to come out of the pit lane ahead of... No, he's going to be close indeed between Brabbit and Craigar, but he's kept the position, has Brabbit. No, he hasn't. He's lost out now to Craigar, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But anyway, Kamara racing now up into P8, or down to P8, I should say. Dan Murphy on the softs in P9. Cassell there on the softs, coming out in P10. Danny after that pit stop as well, and that has not worked out for Danny at all, has he? He's lost out there massively as well. Smithy in the pit lane, Gordo in the pit lane as well. Lucifer is in the pit lane as well. No, Lucifer is carrying on in this Grand Prix, so I'm not quite sure what is going on there for Lucifer. He's not got a front wing after driving himself into the wall on purpose. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what Lucifer is up to here. Smithy there on the soft compound tyres. Gordo onto the softs as well. Same for Welsh Malnado and V Todd. Like I said, Dylan's car is stranded. I'm hoping that we do get a restart at some point in this Grand Prix because Dylan is on lap 20 still, it says on my screen. So he's been stuck there for 6 laps indeed. So as Nigel and Nigel on the medium compound tyres, same. Oh, Alba in the pit lane, the same for Beast as well. So Irvine there is going to carry on. Is he going to get ahead into? And he's coming in the pit lane as well now. So he's decided to call it a day there as well on the medium compound tyres. He's going to come up trying to get himself out ahead of Equaz. Craigar, is he going to carry on as well, or is he going to come into the pits? He might want to stick it out on this race. We're going to have quite a long safety car period there, trying to get everyone bunched up into the back of the queue. Alba on the soft compound tyres, Nigel onto the medium compound tyres. As he joined the back of the safe, or joined the queue with the safety car as well. Irvine onto the mediums as well. Craigar stays out, so he stayed in P. He's up into P5 now as Craigar. Kamara's got himself ahead of Irvine there. Irvine's had a problem there coming out the pit lane there. He's down to P8 there for the Haas driver. Right then, we're just getting ourselves back up into the. Well, now we need to wait, of course, for the safety car to catch up bunch up the queue. Of course, this is going to be interesting stuff indeed. Let's have a look and see what what we're going to be like. What's going to be like there at the start of this Grand Prix or restart of this Grand Prix. We're going to be quite a while, I think, until we get ourselves back underway. I think it's Gordo. Yeah, Gordo is the driver at the back of the queue. of course, with the lap cars behind him as well. So they are already in the train. So Gordo, I think, is the end of the queue here for the safety car train. That is. So yeah, like I said, I think there'll be another lap or so under the safety car, of course. So maybe even another 2 laps, of course, is needed. So we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. Like I said, we're going to have, I think, maybe 4 laps or so. Maybe 5 laps, maybe, to the end of this Grand Prix. The soft compound tyres, I think, to be honest, might still have a struggle there to get to the end of this Grand Prix. They've already done 2 laps on some drivers, on some cars, I should say. As Welshman Auto picks up a 3-second penalty there under the safety car, unfortunately for Welshman Auto. Nigel could be in trouble here, says Mushroom as well. Yeah, it could be with. Oh wait, Albo's not sure what's happening to Albo here. He's lost out there. We were just saying, Serious Mushroom just said that Nigel could be in trouble here. He was going to be, I think, in trouble there with the soft compound runners. Oh, what is Albo up to there? He's just off the circuit again. I'm not sure if he's concentrating enough or having a problem there in the Haas car, but he just needs to get himself calmed down and get himself cool head there to get himself back underway. Ultimate Beast is backing up the order. Not sure what Ultimate Beast is doing here as well. But he's trying to back up the order. He's now got a 3-second gap there. That is also penalty potential if he keeps on doing that, because of course he needs to stay within 10 car lengths of the car ahead, or the safety car as well if you're the leader. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Beast is up to as well. It seems like these two having problems in this under this safety car period. But there we go then. I think the safety car will probably be in this lap, because it looks like it's just Gordo there to catch up to the queue now, and he's going to be very close indeed to catch up in the next corner or 2. So it might be a very late call indeed here for the safety car restart. It is in this lap there, so Nigel there is going to be the de facto safety car leader. And we'll be getting ourselves underway there for the restart to begin lap 30. So that will be 30, 31, 32 and 33. So that will be 4 laps of green flag running there at the end of this Portimao Grand Prix. Lucifer has carried on, and he's not got any front wing as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware as well. So I'm not sure what is going on there for the Alpine driver as he comes in. What's he doing here? He's coming into the pit lane, is he? He is into the pit lane now, so he has called it a day there on those hards. Not quite sure what's going on here. The restart is underway. I completely missed it, but there we go. The restart is underway. Albo is trying to get himself back up the order there, of course, on the soft compound tyres. Beast is under pressure. Craig R's gone for a spin there. Craig R's off the circuit at turn 1, and we've got himself back underway. I think he's got himself down. He's down into P11 there, but he's going to be technically in the points with the penalty there for Danny, potentially at the end of this Grand Prix, if he can just hold on to it. Beast has been passed by Equaz and Beast battling into the hairpin. Equaz trying to go around the outside there of the McLaren now, and Albo's going to be interested as well. Into sector 2 we go, and this is going to get close indeed between the two. Nigel's got a 1.3 second gap. That is great news indeed for what Nigel wants. Dan Murphy's got himself past Irvine there on the inside in sector 2. Fantastic 7 litres. Cassell's gone through as well, past the Haas driver. They go over the top of the hill there. Irvine trying to battle back as well. Cassell on the soft compound tyres. Oh, there's contact there. I'm not quite sure what Cassell was doing there. Cassell just sort of turned into into Irvine there, and that is unfortunately, I have to say, that's on Cassell there. Irvine left him plenty of room there to negotiate through that corner, and I'm not quite sure what Cassell was trying to do there. He's hit the Haas there, and that is and it bounced off basically. So that is, in my opinion, that is not Irvine's fault, but we'll have to wait and see the replays and whatnot. I only have one camera angle, you see. There's no VAR in here, so I have to wait for all the camera angles afterwards as well. But there we go. Ultimate Beast there is now 1.4 seconds behind as Welshman Otto and V Todd are switching places. Welshman Otto's in the pit lane there, so she's called it a day there already on the soft compound tyres. 4 laps there for her as a Reflection trying to stick his nose there past Craig R there into turns 3 we go, and it's going to be close indeed. I think Gordo, not Gordo, I think we'll go through in turn 4. This is very easy to spin here. Craig R's kept it nice and tidy there, but like I was saying, I think Albo might have been in AI mode, and that ghost car of Dylan there cost him the places there. As down the inside goes Craig R into the hairpin there. Reflection on the soft compound tyres trying to hold it as Craig R is on very old medium compound tyres at this stage. Now comes Gordo down the inside into sector 2. He's done the move. Can he keep the move as well? He's done a great job there as Gordo, as he's got the control of the car, as he just about he has done as well. Can he stay within that 3-second window, potentially get himself in the points as well? We'll have to wait and see. Smithy's got a penalty as well, so it's not going to be too bad for him. Well, it's going to be too bad for him, unfortunately. He's not going to be finishing in the top 10, unfortunately, in this Grand Prix. There we go. Craig R down the order, unfortunately, but penalties for the drivers ahead. Could potentially get himself back in the fight. Vitor, I think, is fighting with him as well at the stage. Cassell dropping down the order after that contact there with the Haas of Irvine, unfortunately there, and now Dylan is still stricken there as well. 1.8 seconds is now the gap into for the top 2. Nigel is on course for the championship win here in the drivers. That is looking great indeed there for Nigel. Ultimate Beast in P2, Equaz in P3. I think the DRS has been enabled now as well, so the DRS is going to be available there for the drivers onto lap 32 we go. Yes, it is available as well. Brabbit now in P5, Camaro in P6 as well. Dan Murphy done a good job there in P7. I'm not quite sure if anybody's doing the driver of the day poll, but we'll have a look at the driver of the day poll, or the position changes at least, so we can get an idea of who's going to be driver of the day later on in this Grand Prix. Dan Murphy and Irvine there, both moving up lots of places as well. Danny as well, but unfortunately the penalties cost Danny. Reflection will move up into P9, so that's all moving up the order. Gordo there is sticking with Reflection as well, and that is good news indeed for Gordo, because he could get himself into the points as well. Here comes Dan Murphy on Camaro Racer, and he's leaving a lot of space this time as well, as the Camaro Racer trying to hang around the outside. Is he? No, not quite. Into sector 2, into sector 3 we go. Camaro's got the move done as well, and he's got the he kept the position there. These two battling away through sector 2 and sector 3. This is one hell of a Grand Prix indeed, as Lucifer got the 10-second penalty for corner cutting, unfortunately for Lucifer. He's not had a good time there in this Grand Prix, and unfortunately was the reason or the cause of the needless safety car as well, so will be investigated after the Grand Prix. Now Dan Murphy round the final corner as well, and up to the line. He's going to have DRS, of course, now down the main straight this time as well, because it has been activated on the last lap. Equaz has been passed by Albo. Equaz is down to P4, and that is his championship hopes, I think, just fading in this last few laps here of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Dan Murphy now up into P6. He's got himself ahead of I thought that was a car on the track there, but it was Dylan's car that's been stuck in AI there. Camaro down into P7 there. Dan Murphy trying to get himself enough of a gap there to stave off the attack there from the Ferrari. Irvine there up into a P8 there with a good drive indeed there from the Haas driver as well. Looking good from Irvine. Good stuff from him. Welsh Maldonado sets the fastest lap of the race. Great stuff indeed from Welsh Maldonado. Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed for Welsh Maldonado for keeping going. Equaz picks up a 3-second penalty. That is, he's pushing too hard, I think, is Equaz. Unfortunately, that is costing him now in the last stages of this Grand Prix. That is going to demote him down the order quite significantly as well, unfortunately for Equaz there, which is unfortunate there for the Aston Martin driver. Unfortunately, this is the title fight going down to the wire, and well, not to the wire, of course. There's still 2 races to go, but it looks like as Nigel comes around the final couple of corners, Nigel with a fantastic race indeed here in Portugal, and a fantastic season indeed here in Silver Season 5. And your champion there for Silver Season 5 is Nigel, as he crosses the line there to take the win here in Portugal and take the driver's title here for Silver Season 5 in round 22. What a fantastic result indeed for Nigel. It was a fantastic season indeed for Nigel. And there we go, a bit of a bumping as well from Ultimate Beast there to congratulate him on the title fight and a title win as well in the AlphaTauri. What a Grand Prix indeed it has been, and what a season it has been there. The car number 36, Nigel, is your Silver Season 5 champion. Wow, that was great indeed. What a result indeed, and what a championship indeed it has been as well. Equaz there demoted down to P8 there in the end, but nonetheless, he's had a fantastic season, all season I should say. So really well done to Equaz as well, taking the fight to Nigel as much as he could as well in the races that he's been absolute top performer as well for Equaz, and take nothing away from Equaz. He's done a fantastic job this season as well. Real hats off to Equaz as well, but in P2 there in the championship. But Nigel there is your champion. What a fantastic result for Nigel as well. Ultimate Beast with a great drive tonight as well into P2 after battling through the order. And I think we had Albo there in P3 in the end after getting himself past Equaz there in the last couple of laps or so. There we go then. getting the driver of the day votes, of course. Nigel there is your champion there for season 5. There we go on the top step. Once again, very familiar spot there for Nigel this season in silver as well. Looking good indeed there in the AlphaTauri. Of course, Ultimate Beast there in P2 as well. And Albo there in the Haas in P3. What a result and what a race that has been. Unfortunately, like I said, that safety car did play a bit of havoc at the end, which was unnecessary indeed. But nonetheless, it didn't impact the championship. And as well, we can see there is the AlphaTauri driver celebrating in style there on the top step once again. Equaz in the comments, the first driver in the comments as well. Congratulations to Nigel as well. That's the most sportsmanlike championship it's been as well. I think between the top two, Nigel and Equaz have both done fantastically well and kept the battles and kept the talk clean as well. Nigel there is your race winner here in Portugal. He of course is the championship winner there for the drivers' title there in silver this season as well. Fantastic stuff indeed. Ultimate Beast in P2, Albo like I said in P3. Brambit there just missed out on that podium place there. From in P4, Dan Murphy there, driver of the day, I would say, in P5. Although I think driver of the day, of course, goes to Nigel as well for the championship. Kamara Racer in P7, P6, I should say, from P7. Irvine up from 18th to 7th as well. Fantastic result from Irvine in P7. Equaz in P8 there, unfortunately, with the penalty as well. Added onto his race time. Reflection in P9. Gordo in P10. Good stuff indeed from Gordo there as well. Had difficulties this race, but he's got himself a point nonetheless. Well done to Gordo. Danny in P11. They're just outside the points. Craig R in P12. Smithy in P13. Cassell there P14. Lucifer P15. V Todd in P16. Welsh Malnado there. Did get the fastest lap as well. Good stuff indeed. And fantastic stuff indeed from V Todd and from Welsh Malnado to carry on going in this race to get a result indeed. And the fastest lap point, of course, to Welsh Malnado as well. Dylan there in P18. Farf in P19 as well. Unfortunately for Dylan, there was just a glitch there. He couldn't get himself back in the race, unfortunately, which is a big shame indeed. No problem indeed from Dylan at all. But Farf there in P19 unfortunately had to retire from the race for certain reasons, which have been explained. So there we go. But there you go then. We'll hopefully get an interview with the drivers. I don't know if anybody's added them to the party or not. We'll have to try and figure it out now. No. Bear with us 1 second. We'll try and do it ourselves. We need to add Nigel. And Ultimate Beast. Right. Hopefully they can jump into the party. Right then, we'll get the let's get us the interviews was added. Let's get the interviews underway. Hopefully anyway, as the session there starts to tick down to an end there. What a race it's been indeed in round 22 out of silver. Let's have a look and see. Hopefully we can get the the mic set up. Hopefully everyone can hear me as well. Ultimate Beast, you just joined the party, I believe. How was that Grand Prix for yourself? What a fantastic result indeed there for yourself in the McLaren there from P4.
Yeah, great race. Wasn't expecting it, to be fair, especially my qualifying performance and a pace around Portugal, but overall I'm happy.
Yeah, it was a good result there as well. You were battling through the likes of Brabit and Equaz at one point, and was it did you gained a place pretty much on back-to-back laps there at the top of the hill there on that horrible right-hander in the traction zone? Was it just you getting better traction, or was it them making a mistake there?
Probably a bit of both, to be fair. I see it a little mistake. I thought might as well go for it, and it paid off. So.
Well, you got yourself a good result there indeed, up into P2 at the end of that Grand Prix after some fantastic battles as well, indeed. So congratulations to you as well, and looking forward to seeing what's your thoughts on China as well. Are you going to be back on the podium here?
I never know, bro.
You never know. Well, hopefully we'll see you back as well. Another fantastic race from yourself as well. Well done to you. Very, very good race indeed. And yes, hopefully we'll see you back on the podium as well in the future races. We've got a new champion. Nigel, you are the Silver Season 5 champion. Well done to yourself, and what a season it's been. Just take us through maybe some of your highlights from the season and this race as well.
Yes, thanks, mate. It is really unbelievable. I still don't believe it, but it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm very happy about it, of course. And first of all, I want to thank everybody who support me, and of course the league and the comms and everybody, and also all the admins. A really great job and really the push I needed this season. And yes, I'm so happy about it.
Well, I'll take that as a fantastic compliment. Thank you very much. Nobody said anything so nice to me before. But no, all the credit goes down to you as well for putting. Well, all the credit goes down to you anyway, of course, for putting in those performances week in, week out. And I think, like I said, it's been an absolutely fantastic season from yourself. Literally a record number of points, I think, as well in silver. Fantastic number of wins as well. And you had a challenge there from both Fanjo and Equaz throughout the season. What's your comments there on your championship rivals?
Yeah, they just gave me the push I needed. I did a lot of practice because of those guys, and yeah, we were just fighting a lot, hard and a lot, and I just looking forward to race them in gold. And this season was already amazing, and I'm looking forward to next season with those guys.
Good stuff indeed. And like I said, do you have a specific highlight or something, a race or anything that was further back in the season that you thought, oh, this is the time that I'm going to win the championship, or did you have to just keep on going race by race?
Yes, now a little bit. I was just going race by race, but in Austria, I was thinking this can be the season. This is going to be the year. If I do the same results every week in, week out, it is going to be fine. But it was really, really, really great, and a lot of great races. Also, Mexico was really nice. A lot of great battles. Also in Brazil last week, where I come from almost last to becoming P5. We had a lot of good races, great fun, and also clean, of course. And this race was also very nice.
Well, I think there's too many highlights there for Nigel season.
Yeah.
Sounds like absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. It just shows what an amazing season it's been for the new ALR Silver Season 5 champion there. Nigel is your champion there. What a result indeed, and what a silver season it's been for Nigel. Of course, 2 races to go there. You've got to try and maximise the gap still and see how far you can win the title by, or win the championship by, of course. But the title has been wrapped up, of course, there for Nigel tonight with a fantastic race indeed. And what a Grand Prix indeed for him as well. So really good stuff indeed from Nigel. I think hats off to him as well. And of course, the if that hasn't swayed you in the awards, of course the awards voting is out in the Discord server. So make sure you get your votes in as well. For anybody in the Silvers Discord, to make sure you try and get your votes in there for open till Friday as well. But what a result indeed. Nigel is your ALR Silver Season